What's cracking, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. New video. Today I'm gonna reminisce with you guys. It's a YA story, almost a tragedy. So I've told stories about YA. I haven't told any YA stories in a little while, but I was talking to somebody. I was talking to Gunner, and we're talking about Usos. We're talking about the Samoans, right? How these dudes are fucking gentle giants, man. Like, good people, humongous people, strong as hell. And you never really see them, like, they're not bullies. And like, I've never seen that, right? Very cool people. But I want to tell you a YA story. And I'm actually going to say this man's name, man. Shout out to Paul Pupu. Paul Pupu. P-U-P-U. Paul Pupu and I were in Paso together. And Pupu was like the main dude there for the Samoans. There was 4 Samoans, I believe, on our unit. And let me go ahead and also say this. The biggest human being in my life that I ever saw, was in that unit in Paso Robles in the California Youth Authority, and his name was Thor from SOS in San Jose. I believe that's Westside SOS, right? This dude was so fucking big. I remember he came to our unit, and I looked and I said, oh my God. His thigh, one thigh is bigger than every fucking Mexican. If you stood next to it, his thigh is bigger than all of us on this fucking unit, right? I was like, son of a bitch. I said, if we gotta fucking get into it with these guys, we lost. It's gonna take every one of us to jump on the door. But again, man, like, we didn't have to, we didn't, but anyway, now, let's get to this story, man. So, I've said, and I always keep it real, man. The most racist place I've ever been when it comes to doing time was the California Youth Authority, not the California Department of Corrections. The California Youth Authority was a breeding ground of hatred of every single kind. The way people treated their own people there and justified it by gangbanging, I've never seen anywhere else. The brutality that you saw in the California Youth Authority, you didn't see anywhere else. And the racism was just another form of hatred, and it was just, everything was hate in there. Everything was violent. So the unit that I was on, one of the units I was on, but on this unit, there was a rule amongst the raza from Southern California. At the time, that's all. There was no raza from Fresno or Northern California back then. Back then, Northern California was still, the Bulldogs, Fresno was still part of that. You know, that's how far back this dinosaur is going with it. So in our unit, we had, there was a rule, it was a regla, one of the rules. If a homie calls out a black, they can get down heads up. If a black try to bully or call out a homie, somebody has to jump in, period. And it was on the whole thing of we can't lose. Like, you're not gonna let them bully you. We're not gonna. Who knows why he's calling you out? Now there were, you know, like, hey, I want to get down with your homeboy. All right, that's good. It was just, you know, why it was crazy like that, right? And so there was an incident where we went on a movement to the soccer field. And at the soccer field, there happened to be a black dude that went, which was odd because usually they didn't go play soccer with us. You know, if we went to go play soccer, it was just going to be all Mexicans out there. Well, this guy came and he got into a verbal altercation. I think somebody bumped somebody, and then he got into it with a homie from Eastside TMC, right? And next thing you know, you hear, take it behind the bleachers in. They went behind the bleachers, and 2 other homies ran back there and they jumped the black dude. That's just the way it was, man. I don't sugarcoat shit. And people are going to get in the comments, you see this, you see that. Hey, that's how it was, right? So he came back and he was like, all right, I see how it is. All right, motherfuckers, this and that. It's all good. Nobody else said nothing. Just, everybody went back to playing soccer. He played soccer. We went back to the unit. And everybody knew he's going to tell his people. And so he tells his people like, hey, the essays jumped me. And for some reason, the blacks told the Samoans, why you gotta cheat? Why you gotta cheat and bring them into this? So one of the blacks gets at me and he's like, look, man, we want to run it back for what happened over there, man. Your homies fucking jumped my homie and we want to run it back. Which was surprising that he even said anything to me, right? So I was like, all right, well, like, what are you telling me for? You know what I mean? Like, what do you mean? Like, me and this dude were really cool, man. He was from BPS. Shout out to BPS. No. He was from Pueblos. Excuse me. He was from Pueblos. Big teardrop on his face. Those of you that were there at the time will know who I'm talking about. And he said no, because we want to run it back on that same field. It was weird, right? I was like, okay. So he goes, we're just letting you know, we're gonna, when we have a movement today, because movements, it's not in the unit, they take you somewhere, right? To if you have a movement to the pool, or you have a school movement, that's different. You have the football field or soccer field movement, the gym movement, whatever it is. So he's like, when we go to the next movement to the field, which I think it was that day, he goes, we're gonna get off. So I was like, all right, that was feed, man. They gave us the heads up. And so I went around telling the homies, like, hey, there's going to be a movement today. And these dudes want to get off. And so I'm trying to sign people up, like, hey, Holmes, you got to come with us. Hey, you got to come with us. You got to come with us. And then that's when we realized, for sure, the Samoans are in on this, right? Fuck. So they called for the movement. And I had me a little metal piece on me, and I was one of the last ones to come out because I'm telling Vatos, like, man, get over here. Come on, let's go. And the Huda's like, hey, we already got enough people. That's too many already. Let's go. It was a full movement, I guess, because it was one Huda. So he can only take, I think, 40, right? 20, I think it's one YC can escort 20, I think is what it was. I don't remember. It might have been 35. Who knows? Who cares? Get out of the details. So I come out and I see all the rows and I see one spot open. And like Vatos are coming out and then they're like walking away and the other Vatos come out and walk away. And I'm like, the fuck? How come nobody's lining up right there? So I said, I'm gonna line up right there. I go and boom, and I get there and I look. Oh, fuck. There's Paul Poo-Poo. So I looked at him and he looked at me. I'm looking at him like, fuck it. I gotta do this. And he's looking at me like, good luck with that. And we're all lined up, man. And everyone's got on them whatever they got on them, whatever they plan on using. And it was a normal day, right? But I'm knowing by me lining up next to him, the ball is in their court to kick it off when and where they want to kick it off. Are they going to kick it off on the movement? Are they going to kick it off when we get there and the cop walks up? Like, I don't know. This is their thing. So we're going along for the ride, and everybody knows what time it is. Everybody in that row, in them rows, signed up to get off. There was no, let's go over there and talk about it shit, right? And the cop did his count, called this count in on the radio. Central Control said, move him out. He said, go ahead. We come out from our building, the front of our building, we hit the street, boom. We start walking. Those of you that have been in Paso, you know. So we're walking, and everything's cool, and you know, there's obviously tension, there's butterflies. You never know how it's gonna turn out. You never know. You don't know what weapons they have on them. You only know what you got on you. So we're walking, and I'm just like, fuck it. I'm gonna fucking fire on big ass Paul Poo-Poo, and then I'm gonna take the ass whooping that comes with it. But he's gonna know that I fired on him. This little ass says they fired on him, right? So we're walking. Those of you that have been to Paso, when we got in front of Moro, once you get to Moro, you have to take a left and go at a diagonal to get on that road, and then go straight, and you're gonna go down to the football field, soccer field, whatever you want to call it. We got in front of Moro, and God decided to bless me that day. Because I bullshit you not, the sky completely opened up and buckets of water came, lightning and thunder, and it was, out of nowhere. It was, instant. And when that hit, the YC, the cop says, fuck that, turn around and take it back. At that moment, everyone stopped. Everyone looked at each other. I looked at Paul. Again, this is their thing. It's not the Samoans thing. It was the blacks things, to get off for their homeboy. Everybody on that compa actually was pretty fucking cool with each other, man. And I think that's why, instead of, just getting off, they were like, let's just do this fair. Everybody go. When that sky opened up, man, and like I said, we looked at each other, and Poo-Poo looked at me like, lucky motherfucker. And surprisingly, the movement turned around. We all went back to the unit, and it was bygones be bygones. Trip story, right? True story. Paul Poo-Poo, if you hear this story, if somebody knows Paul, if anybody knows Mulio'o that was my buddy, man. He was probably 5'7", and I told him he had to be 7 years old. That's what you are not a teenager. You are not a teenage Samoan, homie. The size you are, there's no way possible. I used to fuck with that cat. He was cool as hell. But people are always asking me about more stories about Samoans. And that was the one that popped into my head, man. Paul Poo-Poo was a cool ass dude. I remember he wanted to beat up a homie from South Los because the homie from South Los was running the compa. He liked the homie. He was like, man, you're the shot caller? He's like, man, I gotta fuck you up for that. But Paul Poo-Poo, I hope that you have grown. You are older than me. I hope that you have a bunch of kids, a bunch of grandkids, and that everybody's healthy and happy, man. And I'm glad that I didn't take that ass whooping, because I never fought a Samoan before, but I'm sure it hurts. Anyways, that's my story for the day, man. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Everybody, please be safe, be smart, and tell the ones you love that you love them. And for those of you observant enough that heard the bell, that was a pizza that just finished. I'm out of here.